375 million years ago, your ancestors made a choice. They crawled out of the warm, primordial soup and traded their fins for feet. But what if that choice wasn't permanent? Right now, your body still carries the blueprints of the abyss. Your heart rate slows when your face touches water. Your embryos possess vestigial gill slits. We are terrestrial creatures with a marine soul. Now, as the sea levels of 2026 continue to rise, we have to ask the unthinkable. Is the next stage of human evolution a return to the dark? Welcome to Deep Science Explained. We often look to the stars for our future, but the most alien environment on Earth is right beneath us. We've mapped the surface of Mars more accurately than the floor of our own oceans. But the mystery of the universe isn't just found in deep space, it's hidden in our DNA. Could we actually go back? Could we bypass millions of years of natural selection through genetic engineering? Or is the ocean's crushing pressure an evolutionary wall we can never climb? Today we are exploring the deep science of aquatic adaptation. We will uncover the hidden merpeople already living among us, the radical technology of liquid breathing, and the biological hacks that could turn us into a truly amphibious species. To understand if we can evolve, we must first look at those who already are. Meet the Bajau people of Southeast Asia. Known as sea nomads, they have lived on houseboats and spent their lives diving for centuries. But here's where it gets crazy. Geneticists have discovered that the Bajau aren't just good at holding their breath, they are biologically different. Through centuries of natural selection, they have evolved spleens 50% larger than the average human. Why? Because the spleen acts as a biological scuba tank. When you dive, the spleen contracts, injecting a burst of oxygenated red blood cells into your system. The Bajau have evolved a turbo boost for their blood. This isn't just a cultural habit. It is a genetic divergence happening in real time. Did you know that every single human possesses a mammalian dive reflex? The moment your face is submerged in cold water, your heart rate drops by up to 25%, and your peripheral blood vessels constrict to keep oxygen flowing to your brain and heart. It is an ancient, dormant code, a ghost of our aquatic past waiting to be reactivated. But living in the water is different from visiting it. The ocean is a realm of crushing pressure. For every 10 meters you descend, the pressure increases by 1 atmosphere. At the bottom of the Mariana Trench, the pressure is equivalent to having an elephant stand on your thumb. Science explained simply. Our lungs are our greatest weakness. They are bags of air. Under pressure, air compresses. At a certain depth, your chest would physically cave in. To evolve, we wouldn't just need gills. We would need to get rid of air entirely. We would need to become solid, or at least filled with fluid that doesn't compress. Enter the metaphor of the liquid lung. In the 1960s, researchers experimented with perfluorocarbons, liquids that can hold massive amounts of dissolved oxygen. If you fill a human's lungs with this liquid, the pressure inside matches the pressure outside. You become incompressible. You could walk on the ocean floor without a pressurized suit. But there's a catch. Extracting oxygen from water is vastly more difficult than extracting it from air. Water is 800 times denser than air and contains about 3% of the oxygen. To breathe underwater like a fish, a human would need to pump thousands of liters of water through a gill system every hour. Our current metabolism is simply too high. We are hot creatures in a cold world. We would need to either slow our lives down to a crawl or find a way to supercharge our oxygen absorption. The transition wouldn't just be about breathing, it would be about surviving the big chill. Water conducts heat 25 times faster than air. A naked human in 4 degrees Celsius water, the temperature of the deep ocean, would die of hypothermia in minutes. To evolve, we would need to borrow a trick from the seals. Blubber. We would need to become rounded, streamlined, and insulated by a thick layer of fat. Our skin would need to become tougher, perhaps losing its sweat glands and hair entirely, replaced by a sleek hydrodynamic mucus or a leather-like texture. Think about our eyes. Light behaves differently underwater. It refracts. On land, our corneas do most of the focusing. Underwater, they become useless. To see clearly in the abyss, we would need massive spherical lenses like those of a colossal squid. Or we would have to give up on vision entirely and embrace a world of sound. This brings us to the big discovery. We no longer have to wait for the slow crawl of natural selection. With CRISPR and synthetic biology, we are the architects of our own evolution. Imagine recoding the human genome to express the traits of a cetacean. We could engineer myoglobin, the protein that stores oxygen in muscles, to be non-stick like it is in whales, allowing us to pack massive amounts of oxygen into our tissues without it clumping together. This would give a human the ability to breathe internally for hours at a time. But there is a deeper, almost quantum mechanics level to this. In the pitch black of the midnight zone, eyes are useless. To truly live underwater, we would need to evolve or engineer bioluminescence and electroreception. Shark-like sensors called the ampullae of Lorenzini could allow us to feel the electric fields of living things around us. We wouldn't just be living in the water, we would be integrated into its very electrical fabric. As the marine biologist and explorer Sylvia Earle once said, "With every drop of water you drink, every breath you take, you're connected to the sea. No matter where on Earth you live." This is the emotional core of Deep Science Explained. We aren't just looking to colonize a new territory, we are looking to reconnect with the mother of all life. But consider the psychological shift. On land, we are masters of fire and light. Underwater, there is no fire, there is no combustion. How does a technological species survive without the spark? We would have to develop a biotechnology, living tools, glowing organisms, and structures grown from calcium carbonate. We would become a species that doesn't build with steel and glass, but one that weaves itself into the coral and the current. Let's talk about the bends. When we breathe compressed air, nitrogen dissolves into our blood. If we rise too fast, that nitrogen turns into bubbles like opening a soda bottle, causing excruciating pain or death. Whales avoid this by letting their lungs collapse entirely, pushing the air into non-absorptive areas of their throat. To become truly aquatic, we would have to abandon the rib cage as we know it. We would need a flexible, collapsible chest that can survive the transition from the surface to the trench. We would need a circulatory system that can handle the extreme cold without shunting blood away from our limbs, leading to necrosis. We are talking about a total biological overhaul. This isn't just adding gills to a human, it is building a new kind of mammal from the ground up. Is there a moral limit to this? Deep Science Explained must ask. At what point do we stop being human? If we have webbed hands, thick blubber, collapsible lungs, and the ability to sense electric pulses in the dark, are we still the same species that wrote symphonies and walked on the moon? Or is the definition of human not found in our shape, but in our curiosity? If we choose to leave the sunlight behind, we are choosing a path of silence and weightlessness. We are choosing to live in a world where up and down are the only directions that matter, and where the horizon is only as far as your sonar can reach. What about the aquatic ape hypothesis? Some anthropologists suggest that we've already been through a semi-aquatic phase. They point to our hairless skin, our layer of subcutaneous fat, and our hooded noses that prevent water from entering the nostrils. While mainstream science is skeptical, the deep science perspective sees these as clues. Perhaps we aren't learning something new. Perhaps we are simply remembering. Our affinity for the beach, the way we find the sound of waves relaxing, these might be deep-seated evolutionary echoes of a home we lost. Returning to the sea wouldn't be a conquest, it would be a homecoming. So could humans evolve to live underwater? The deep science says the potential is already written in our veins. Whether through the slow tick of centuries or the fast snip of a geneticist's scissors, the blue frontier is calling. We are the only species capable of directing our own transformation. We could choose to remain on a warming, crowded land, or we could reclaim the 70% of our planet that we currently only view from the surface. We could build cities in the kelp forests and temples in the trenches, but here is the final reflective twist. If we do return to the sea, what do we leave behind? Our culture, our fire, our very technology is built on the dry world. You can't forge steel underwater. You can't harness combustion. To become aquatic, we might have to trade our industrial civilization for a biological one. We would become a species of the long now, governed by the slow, rhythmic tides rather than the frantic buzz of the digital age. We would lose the stars, but we would gain a world of three-dimensional freedom that no land dweller can ever truly understand. What if reality itself isn't what we think? What if our time on land was just a brief, dry experiment, an evolutionary vacation before we finally return home to the silence of the deep? What if the mystery of the universe isn't out there among the galaxies, but down there in the crushing dark where life began? I'm your host, and this has been Deep Science Explained. If this exploration of our watery future made you hold your breath in awe, hit the like button and subscribe. The tide is coming in, and it's time we learned how to swim. In our next episode, we'll uncover something even stranger. The Europa mystery. Could there be a second branch of humanity already living in the ice-covered oceans of Jupiter's moon?